Okay, a rope that is at 30 degrees to the horizontal is used to pull a 10-kilogram crate across a rough floor. The crate is initially at rest and is dragged for a distance of 4 meters. The tension, Ft, in the rope is 50 newtons, and the frictional force, Ff, opposing the motion is 20 newtons, as you have in that diagram there. Determine the work done on the crate by the person pulling the rope. So we want to know, I don't really like the wording of this because the crate, I don't know, the frictional force throws off the work done on the crate. But what part A wants us to realise is the work done by the person. Okay, that's what we need to figure out. So we know the person is applying a force of 50 newtons. So we can draw our little vector diagram. So our force is in that direction. 50 newtons. We know the angle to the horizontal is 30 degrees. Okay, so in this example, again, it is only the horizontal force that has any bearing on the work. Okay, even though the person is pulling up as well, this upwards vector, that has no bearing on the force. Okay, it is only the force in the same direction as the motion that leads to the work done. So we want to find this thing down here. We want to find our applied force. Okay, so a little bit of trigonometry. So our applied force is going to be 50 cos 30, which will be I get 43.3 newtons. So that's the applied force. That is the horizontal component of the force being applied. That's the one that is contributing to the work. Okay? Now, the question still asks us, we want the work done by the person. Okay? This is the important bit. The work done by the person in terms of pulling the crate. So we know the force. What else do we need for work? Distance. So our work is going to be equal to 43.3 multiplied by our distance is 4 meters. So I get 173.2.
Does the 20 newtons opposing the motion affect anything?
Yes, but not in this bit. Okay, so yes, the 20 newtons does affect it, but that is in terms of the amount of work done on the crate. Okay, so the amount of work done on the crate, that's when we need to take into account this 20 newtons. But the amount of work done by the person, that 20 newtons doesn't come into it because they are still pulling, they're working against that friction. Okay, it's a little bit hard to get your head around. It's worth just, I guess, remembering how to do questions like this. Okay, but yeah, the 20 newtons comes in part B. But in terms of the amount of work the person is doing, they're pulling this crate along. They are applying 43.3 newtons in the direction of the motion of the crate, and they're pulling it for 4 meters. So that's where we get the amount of work. So calculate the work done on the crate. So the work done on the crate, we need to know work is force times distance. Now the work done on the crate, this is where we need to take into account our friction. Okay, so our work is, I guess we should write F net times D. It's probably a better explanation there. All right, so the work done. So first of all, let's look at our F net. So our F net is all of our forces added together. So there is a tension force in the direction of motion of 43.3 newtons plus a frictional force, but the frictional force is in the opposite direction. And so our net force is going to be 23.3 newtons. we have our net force. Now we can just multiply this by distance. So work is 23.3 multiplied by 4, which is 93.2. Okay. Now here, part C is where I'm hoping a little bit of these, or a few of these ideas will crystallise. Calculate the energy transformed to heat and sound due to the frictional force. Yes, sorry. Question?
Yeah.
Ha! Yes. I was just waiting to see if you're all awake. Well done. Okay. Well played, everybody. Right, so calculate the energy transformed to heat and sound due to the frictional force. Okay. So there are two ways you can do this. And this, I think, will help you understand a little bit more what's going on. So, the person is doing 173.2 joules of work. Okay, that's what the person is putting in. However, the crate is only having 93.2 joules of work done on it. Okay, so we have a discrepancy. The person is putting in 173.2 joules. The crate is only having 93.2 joules put upon it. And so the difference between these two must be the energy lost due to heat and sound because of the frictional force. So that should be 80 joules. Now we can double check this answer in a pretty cute way. Right? It is, it's really cute. So we can work out the amount of work that friction does on our crate. Okay, let's do this the cute way. The amount of work that the friction does on the crate. So remember, work is equal to force times distance. What's our frictional force? 20. What's our distance? Look at that. 80 joules lost to friction. So you can do that either way. Doesn't matter. Okay? But the important things to be aware of here, the person is putting work into the system. If it was a frictionless surface, then the amount of work the person put in and the amount of work done on the crate would be the same. But as long as there is friction, you're going to lose energy due to the friction. And that is what's going on here. Okay? Questions? Good. Try the next one yourself.